this one.
Hey, what's up, Transformers Earth Wars? This is your boy Freeze coming to you from the Deceptive Lab. And honestly, I'm staying up late tonight, really just because I'm just really excited about the 4-star Trypticon event. And just so you understand what I got on the line tonight, I got an opportunity to get the 4-star Trypticon. I got an opportunity to get a new 5-star bot in this event. And honestly, I just kind of want to just get into it and tell you what's going on with the event. And I also want to share with you tonight some strategies that I plan on using in this week's event, just so I can get out here and show you the best ways to get points. I had a lot of players ask me over the course of the week how I can maximize the amount of points that you get in a big event. And so honestly, I'm just going to get into it. And so I'm going into this week's newsletter, and this is what we're looking at. Honestly, it's a pretty good event, man. I mean, you get a 4-star Trypticon. They got a little typo there, 404 stars, 4-star Titans, and it's says it comes with extra ability. And you also are going to get 1,500 5-star shards. You're going to get 2,500 4-star shards. And you will also get 7,500 3-star shards, 250,000 spark, $250,000 combiner spark. So really good prizes this event. Obviously this is a really big event for the game. Typical event battle zones. And as you go through it, you'll see, it's just regular. So one of the things that I'm going to talk to you about, me personally, I like to side on the side of safety. And so one of the things I'm going to talk about, I'm going to run most of my points in zone 13. I got teams that are capable in zone 14, zone 15, but the larger the events come, I really like to go into the lower zones, ensure victory, and just go out, just go straight for just being efficient in how I'm using my coins and efficient in how I'm using my fuel cells. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on, and you'll see the prizes. Honestly, I was very pleased with this. One of the things is they dropped this from a 2 mil event to a 1.75 mil event. I was happy with the 2 mil event, but I'll be honest with you. One of the things that I like to do, I like to work smarter, not harder. And so 1.75 mil is good with me. But as you look around, lots of shards all the way around, as we just explained. And then they also start talking about the new combat bots. Like here, we got, well, I don't even want to talk about him. That's an Autobot. Here I got pinpointer, and I can tell you from my testing experience, and it's an unpopular opinion, but that my opinion is that I really like this bot. I really like this bot, and I can't tell you what it does. That's proprietary information, but I like this. So I will later on, after the bot comes out, I will have a discussion on my YouTube about combat bots. Like, who do you think are the good ones? Who do you think are the bad ones? Because this really prompted that conversation. I talked to a lot of players about it, and there were a lot of good opinions. There were a lot of different opinions, and honestly, I'm excited to see what becomes of this bot. But I'll leave you to make that decision up to yourself when it comes. And then they start talking about the content creators. Sunstreaker Waza had a really good stream the other night about every special class bot rated for 2022. Had a special guest, Texas Hammer. And that was a good one. If you didn't see it, go to his YouTube page, check it out, and so you can see exactly what they were talking about. And then one of the things I was excited about, Heart Prime, I'm a follower of his, and one of the things that came up on the latest newsletter was that he is now an official Transformers Earth Wars content creator. So shout out to them, over at Heart Prime for becoming one of the official content creators for the game. I follow them. Really good content if you ever get a chance to watch it. So I'm excited about that. Congrats to them. As far as updates, I don't know if many of you saw the survey that came out, but there's a chance when you fill out that survey, I talk to Space Ape on the regular as one of their play testers, and one of the things they want to do is just make sure that you guys are happy with the content that they're pushing out. And so they sent a little survey just to see what do you like, what do you dislike, and along with that, they are giving 5 players an opportunity to get 500 5-star shards. So if you didn't need incentive to tell you how you feel, one of the things that you can get in return is 500 5-star shards. So if you haven't already, I encourage you to go ahead and fill out that survey. I filled out mine. Some things good, some things bad, but mostly good, man. I'm a real easygoing guy. So click the link in the newsletter and you can get access to that survey and put yourself in the running to get those 500 5-star shards. So, and then it starts talking about weekend bundles. I mean, this weekend is a big weekend, so obviously you're gonna have the Golden Lagoon bundles. If you're looking for bots, like I don't buy bots that often, but if you do, Blur, Runabout, they're in there. They got a mixed bundle. Golden Lagoon, which I'm sure most people are going to be interested in this weekend, with it being a larger event, that is going to be on the table. And of course, the Attack Battle Bundle, which we'll talk about here shortly, so you can get some of those extra fuel cells, and so that you can get some of those extra cyber coins. Underneath that, they've got a couple of links that you can use to get into different alliances. Just to, most of those guys do Google surveys and everything like that to try to recruit. Just, you might be a merc, or even sometimes they recruit for their own alliances. And case in point, if you look down at the list that they've got there, I actually had my link up there the last 2 weeks for Darkness Family. I'm over in Darkness Immortal, so shout out to Darkness Family. But ours actually closed before the newsletter went out, just because we wanted to make sure we got everybody in place. We had a lot of families that were collaborating with us. Shout out to Steve-O over there at Dark Overlords. He had a lot of overflow for them. They run a really good operation over there, and so we collaborate a lot of times just to try to make sure that everybody gets the best. Like this event is really exciting, and one of the things that I was looking at is make sure that every Decepticon that we possibly could got this 4-star piece, and so we worked together. And then also a couple of different guys, Kronos, we worked together a little bit, and also the Yeti. We worked together a little bit to try to make sure that we can get as many Decepticons as possible, the 4-star Trypticon. But outside of that, they also had a lot of other families doing the same thing. As soon as I saw this come up, last week, instantly I just sent Dale a DM and was like, hey man, I sent him a DM and said, hey, can we get my family's alliance on there? Obviously I'm one of the main event planners for Darkness Family, and I wanted a piece of that. So hopefully they do that again soon. And honestly, it helped out a lot just in terms of people just asking us for event space. And right now we're locked, we're loaded, we're ready. It was a lot of work, but here we are, and we'll see how it turns out tomorrow, man. We only a few hours away, and I'm stupid excited about it. So that'll be interesting to see. You can see the community corner. Some nice fan art. And, a couple of collectors items. But here we are. So already starting out the new year, we are in week 3 of the saga. Week 3 out of 6. And honestly, man, I'm pretty excited about the whole saga. I'm excited about this week. I'm excited about next week with the new combats, the Prime Core shards, and the individual event. Like I already told you, I'm really excited about the new combat bot, just because I found a way to use them that I think is really going to help my war team. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see if I can pull them in this individual event, and then just a couple more events after that, with another individual totalizer before we get to a new bot. So I'm excited for this saga, but we'll see how it goes. Bug fixes. So right out the gate, last time I was on the video with you last year in 2021, we had a reflector with the ability 11, and I was rating the ability 11 bots. And one of the things that I came up with was I was really high on reflector. This is the only healer that I have, and one of the things that I was looking at was his ability 11. And one of the primary complaints was that he was just kind of running all over the place. And so now there's a bug fix in there for that. I hadn't really picked with that much myself. I think personally that a lot of what we're looking at is just controlling how you and managing how far he runs away. But I saw some videos. I'm not taking away from anybody else that had these problems. I saw some videos that reflective wasn't acting right. So there's a bug fix in there for that, and there's a bug fix in there for blot. And they were saying the ability damage is now correctly increased by the Titan Tree perk, increased warrior ability damage. So just let me know if that's actually happening or not. I hadn't really picked with that too much, or it wasn't one of those things that in particular that I noticed. Blot is really disruptive on my teams, and maybe it was just oversight on my part because I'm just flying through. But if you have not, shoot me something. If that wasn't happening, shoot me something in the comments and let me know if that's improved or not. And then the force field disruptor power core. And it says the protection provided by Starscream's crown, Chrome Jetfire, G1 Grimlock, G1 Razorclaw, G1 Hotspot, G1 Tantrum, and the Golden Lagoon are no longer affected by the force field disruptor. So that's good news. I think a lot of people were, especially leading up into this event, were a little concerned about the Golden Lagoon cores, as that's a primary set piece for how you proceed in these events. I can tell you that I did a little practice on the test account today with the Golden Lagoon. The Golden Lagoon is working properly as advertised. So I'm glad for that, because especially when you're selling bundles for something, you want to make sure that you're giving it the best that you can. And oh boy, I'm not happy about this one per se, but the Titan at level 3 max. So the max was 10. I sat here for the last week or two with my Titan in max 10, but you can max them to level 15. And so it's polarizing for me, right? Because on one hand, if you work for it and you got it, then cool. I do feel like there's a hard work element that goes into this. Not trying to disregard what my mid-tier and lower tier players are feeling, but I do feel like it's a hard work element that comes along with this. And so, play the event. And if you don't play this event this weekend, save up, because I'm not sure if it's going to be more 3-star shards, 4-star shards, 5-star shards, anything like that you got to use, Shanix, anything like that. But I do feel that you got to go out there and earn those extra ability levels. Now, I will say, talking among folks that I know in the playtester circle and everything, that 4-star Titan is still going to be more valuable than this 3-star. But at the same time, you can carry them to level 15. So that will keep your progress up as you go through the Titan XP. But if you can't get the 4-star this weekend, then you got another option when you can go get a little bit more points and level up your Titan. So in that aspect, it will be helpful and keep the game a little bit more balanced. And so that is all we have for the newsletter. And now what I want to do is get into how I'm preparing for the event. And I'm not saying that it is perfect, but I am saying that this is the way that I've been doing it. So that's what I'm gonna look at. And so I'm actually running this from the test account because I was doing a little practice for myself earlier, and I still want to do a little bit of practice for how I want to go about setting up my teams for my bots. And so one of the things that I'm actually looking at is, a couple of things. So the first thing I want to say to you guys is, so they're going to start selling bundles for the event, and I already showed you that on the newsletter. One of the things that they're going to put in the bundles is that attack bundle, which is going to give you 5,000. Well, I'll start here. So I'm going to use a $20 bundle, and here's why. Because I'm going to be a little bit busy tomorrow. So right now I'm working remotely. Even though I'm working remotely, I've still been working really hard. And one of the things that I look at when I'm trying to go buy bundles is time. So there's really, for me, for this particular event, I had a lot of guys asking me, well, what should I do? What bundle should I buy? And how should I align my teams to make sure that I'm efficient? And so my answer to them is that if you're going to have a team, like I like to do duos and trios for each one of my teams, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. The other thing that I like to talk about is the bundles. And so for the bundles, really, so a lot of players had never done it before. They're saying 43,750. That sounds like a lot. Honestly, man, it's not really too bad. What you got to do is make sure that you're being efficient. And one of the things that I like to do is, depending on how much time I have, that determines which bundle I buy. So, for example, the $20 US bundle I buy if I don't have a lot of time, and that comes with 5,000 coins, cyber coins, and I believe it's 120 additional fuel cells. So I like to buy that when I'm full, and then when I do that, It allows me to kind of just dump into the game early. Typically Fridays are pretty slow for me at work, but at the same time, I don't want to put $40 in there and add more fuel cells, and then I'm not getting any regen time for my guys on cooldowns, regenerating fuel cells. So to me, that kind of seems like a waste. I think in this particular case, for most people, if you work on Fridays, do a $20 bundle. Wake up Saturday, do another $20 bundle, or depending on what your work schedule is like, if you can hit $20 bundle and then you get off work and hit another one, go for it. So that's the route I'm taking. I'm doing a $20 bundle on Friday, $20 bundle on Saturday. Sunday, the NFL playoffs start, man. Like I'm a huge American football fan. I'm a huge Premier League fan. Shout out to Manchester City this weekend as they go on to take on Chelsea. So Saturday and Sunday, I got sporting events I want to watch. So one of the things I'm going to do is try to plan my bundle buying around those sporting events. But honestly, man, it's really on your schedule. But I will say it shouldn't take the average player more than $40 to get through this event. If you take the time to play the game, and if you take the time to be efficient in the game. But regardless, this is what I'm looking at for my teams. So $20 bundle, what I'm looking at is a couple of things. So the first thing I'm going to do is run my war team. I'm in Darkness Alpha for the weekend. You know, one of the officers there. Honestly, I'm not going to stop warring. You know, the event, I'm not going to say it's an easy event for me, but it is one that's definitely, with a little help from some cyber coins and a little help from a couple of bundles, that'll make it easier. And so one of the things that I want to do is continue the war. And so this is what my war team looks like. So I'm going to put them in that first slot. I'm going to always keep my war team in that first slot. After that, I'm going to go run some. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to run some teams that I can, with a bot that I can solo. And so what you'll see up here is that Cineas is going to be my primary solo bot. And I'm going to take myself out of the screen here, and I am going to run I'm going to run my practice attempt. Alright, so in this case I got 3 bots. I got Cineas, Malice, Octo Punch, and Reflector. Honestly, a lot of times I just run Cineas and Reflector together just because I like to keep some additional healing on them. For Cineas, I have that Amalgamus Power Core, which works out pretty well for me just to keep him healed. So realistically, I can solo this dude in Zone 14. But one of the things that I'm looking at is just making sure that I'm not losing points by lost attempts or anything like that. So if you wanna play it safe, go ahead and drop down the zone, man. We all know that a lot of times the bases are harder during events, and there's no reason to make that into something that's stopping you from getting ahead. Now, what I will say is I do like the power level bots during these events, and so I'm gonna go ahead and drop Reflector in there. He's also on my war team, and so I'll drop him in there a little bit after the fact, kind of like I was talking about earlier when we were talking about the bug fixes. You want to make sure that he's coming in there a little bit later, so he's not taking a lot of unnecessary damage, and you just let Malice do his thing. You know, we're already halfway up the screen, still got 2 minutes left, I mean, this is going to be a breeze. Now, one thing I will tell you, in this particular scenario, I still have my Titan. Obviously, the Titan is not available during events. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're practicing for the event, make sure that you got a clear-cut advantage when you go using these duos and these trios. Now, for me, I bought Octo Punch in there. It's kind of an accessory. Just because, I don't need him. But if I get into a real bad situation, then he'll be available. One of the things that I look at when I'm putting together teams is I only put 3 bots in this team because, and it might just be, an old wives' tale. But one of the things I look at is, honestly, like, those matchups seem easier when you have a low-level team as compared to when you have a high-level team. So I don't know if there's any truth to that. The algorithm tries to steer anybody a different direction, but that's the theory that I use. That's the theory a lot of my friends throughout the community use. And so if you can use less bots on your teams. And alright, well, am I enjoying that? Yes, I am. So I'll clear that out. And so what I keep doing is, for me, I'm going to use 10 teams. So you can actually see them as I go along. You can see I was just practicing with Deathsaurus. So I already got the Golden Lagoon core on him. I'll show you him next. And I just go through 10 teams of just different bots. Just so I want to use as many bots as possible and win as many Zone 13 battles as possible. And one thing I want to show you is this. Frostbolter actually put out a chart, and that's what it looks like. And you might not be able to see it all right here on the screen, but if you want to see it for yourself, go to the official Transformers Earth Wars Discord, and if you go under useful content, Frostbolter puts out this chart that tells you what exactly you need, how many battles you need in order to complete the event. And this is, it's talking about getting the 43,750, but he does these all the time for just different types of events, just in case people aren't used to putting in money to an event or putting in that kind of effort into an event. Like, realistically, you could do this event free to play. It's going to be difficult. I used to do it when I was in mid-tier alliances. It's not fun. A lot of times I ended up cranky. I'd rather just spend the $20 to $40 and just fire away at those fuel cells. But it gives you the option for each one of those ways. So regardless of what type of player you are, those things are going to be available to you. So if you hadn't seen that, check it out in the useful content section of Discord. But going back to what I was saying, so I run 10 teams overall. So if you remember, team 1 was my war team, and then the 12th through 14th team I leave vacant. And the reason why I do that is because what I want to do is take some of my solo bots, whether it be a bot that I got the Golden Lagoon core on, my more powerful bots, and run them in those last 3 spots. And the reason why I do that is, me personally, what I do is I try to power level my war bots, and I try to power level my new bots. So a lot of times, and I'll show you what I got here, waiting in the cut, and we'll just give it a second while the game buffers. But if you look at my bots, actually I don't want to go in team, I want to go into my actual, well, yeah, I'll go in team. If you look at the bots that I have, so those are some of my stronger bots. And as you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that recently I've been getting a lot of new bots. And so these new bots, I gotta level these guys, man. And so what I've been doing is leveling them during the events, and so they can get stronger. And a lot of times when you look at them, they look low level, just because I hadn't started putting the spark into them. Usually I start putting spark into my bots once they hit level 50, when they're going to be usable in big battles. And so you can even see here, Dinobot 2, he's at 45. Straxus is at 48. You know, Skywarp Night Raven at 48. And you know, as these guys hit 50 and I can find them more usable, that's when I start putting my spark into them. And as you can see, my spark is valuable. So what I wind up doing over the course of this event is I'll get around that 1 million mark, and I got a couple of war bots that are already at level 10 special ability that I know that I'm going to take to level 11. And so as soon as I get my Z Energon up, that's when I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. So I'll probably work on my Z Energon a little bit tonight in the last hours of elimination mode. But that's kind of what I'm faced with. So one thing I wanted to show was how the Golden Lagoon core was going to work. And I had some people, honestly, who I didn't use them all the time, and I had some other people that were the same way. And then I started using them on some of my favorite bots. So you wanted to use it on a powerful bot. I was doing, because this is my test account, I started using it on Deathsaurus. And that's just really because I got unlimited resources. And I know he's a good bot, but it's a bot that can, you know, his health could be, it leaves something to be desired when you're looking at his health. And so I put it on there, and it works really well. And just for demonstration's sake, I'm going to show you what it looks like when we have the Golden Lagoon core on him. But typically my Golden Lagoon bot that I like to use is Ramjet. And just because you already saw my Sinius Malice, I can solo with him. I can solo with Ramjet all the way up to maybe zone 14. But the problem that I have is now they have those new sensing mines. So I want to be careful as to where I deploy Ramjet, especially if I'm going to invest something like a Golden Lagoon core on him. But one of the things I look at is trying to protect my solo bot. And so here you can see that there are two outpost bots in the front and a couple of your better defenses. You know, you got a beam laser in the front. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put block down there, and I'm also going to put Deathsaurus in there behind him. And from there, I'm just going to let him work. Like, he's got that stun ability. And now if you look, he's got that Golden Lagoon core. So you see his damage is not going down that much. And it's also reflecting damage back into anything that's attacking him and hitting him. So that becomes really helpful. Alright, we got Cheeto coming out of there. We'll just go ahead and light him up real quick. And that Golden Lagoon core is doing it. Like I said before, obviously you have the Titans still doing this thing, Trypticons in the background, lighting things up. You won't have that during the event. But I'm not depending on it. If you look at the power, you know, the health points that are left on both Blot and Deathsaurus, you know, they got this. But as a backup, I do bring another bot. So in this case, I bring Mixmaster just in case I need large areas that I need to clean up. But as you can see, Deathsaurus has it under control. And so you get that. And honestly, man, all I'm going to do is just keep cycling through all my teams like that. So that's all I really wanted to show tonight for my tutorial. Honestly, just keep doing that, and it's going to depend on what kind of teams you get. Like for me personally, I've got at least 10 teams that I'm willing to duo or trio with. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, and I actually need to set these teams up on my main account. But other than that, honestly, get those $20 bundles or $40 bundles depending on what kind of time you have, and just use those teams. And then actually I'll show you one more thing real quick, because after those teams are used, this is actually what I do. So for those last 3 spots that are left open, so I was saying that I use spots 12, 13, and 14. What I typically do is I'll take my solo bots and I'll just put different teams that I want in there. So right here, good example, Snapdragon could use a little bit more power, and a couple other bots that I'm working on as projects. I'll stick them on the team with him, and then I'll just duo with those bots and power level those bots. And so when you use your coins, you're using your coins on one bot at a time. Like in this case, a lot of times I won a lot of events just coining Malice. But in this case, I'm probably going to use Malice. I'm probably going to use Ramjet, and I'm probably going to use Deathsaurus, just because I already practiced with him with the Golden Lagoon Core. Those will probably be my solo bots for this event. And right now I'm just going to power level, and realistically I probably lit my second bot out a little bit too early, but it's really, I was just trying to just demonstrate what it is I actually do, because really all I'm looking for is for Malice to just path his way up to the HQ. And the other advantage to this is I've got other bots here to back me up. So if he messes up, it's all good. If he gets it, that's all good too, because either way I know I'm going to take the base. Right now I'm just power leveling bots that could be future project bots, and all I have to do for those bots is throw down the additional spark. So, and this will keep you going and keep it. And honestly, at the 40 spark it takes to get your solo bot, and I'll actually show you my Malice, because this is why I use him. He's maxed out on power level, he's maxed out on ability level, he's maxed out on his power core. Vertebrake, I want to get maxed out soon, but she's pretty solid at level 9, and so he's almost at 5,000 power level. So that's why I use a bot that I'm really good with on, and that I've got at a high level for my solo bot. But what I usually do, so I already use Snapdragon, I'm gonna go in here and take him out, and it depends, it's hit or miss. Sometimes I'll take Cineas Malice out, but usually what I do in a lot of cases is I'll stick Ramjet in there, and a lot of times I'll give him the Golden Lagoon Core. In this case I don't have the Golden Lagoon Core on him because I'm just in practice, but I do think that he's still going to be able to do a good job regardless. So I pull up to this new base, and honestly all I'm going to try to do is put fire on everything I can. So I've got the Vector Core on him, and I'm just trying to get additional damage any way I can. And you can see stuff melting down in the background. Now, if I had the Golden Lagoon core, this would have already been over with. Here you see he dies, and this is where I keep a whole team behind him. But right now, because I have the Titan, now you won't have him in the event, but one thing that I've been showing players is that if you don't deploy your whole team, the Titan is going to keep attacking. And so as you can see here, the Titan is already doing this thing. I've already did a lot of damage to the base. So if you're just doing your regular raid battles, you're doing your regular, I mean not raid, but you're doing your regular attacks, this is always an option for those of you who have the Titan, to just let them do all the work for you. Right now I've only used one bot, and I still got 2 minutes. The Titan is really putting in work right now, and you just kind of just watch the clock at this point. So one strategy that you can use for your normal attacks is just to let the Titan do the work. And I'll scroll back a little bit so you can see that. I mean, he's in there laying down all of the outpost bots, using his different abilities. And then I've got Titan Smite there, where I can just take out different defenses. This is why I like doing things in zone 13, because in zone 14 you might run into cabanas. You might also run into other Titan, or in the event you won't run into other Titans, but if you were doing a regular battle, you'd run into regular Titans. And I'm not going to take the unnecessary chance. I'd rather do the zone 13, get the guaranteed victory. But if this was any other event, you know, where I wasn't spending on the event, I'd just run regular teams. And now you can see the HQ is coming down. I mean, it's very, very weak at this point. I still got 40 seconds left. So keep that in mind when you're running regular attacks. You know, just to try to capitalize on some of those lower zones. All right. So we'll pull up another team, and that is, so another thing I do, the reason why I use the last 3 teams is sometimes I'll just load up with multiple different bots. And typically what's going to happen when I'm using these different teams is that when I'm using the different teams, what typically happens is by the time I get through solo or duoing each of those bots, by the time you look at there and at the original teams I use, they fully recharge. So once those teams recharge for those first 10 teams or however many teams you decide to use, that's when you go back to those teams and use them, so that you're not burning that many fuel cells coining your solo and duo bots. But other than that, this is Freeze coming to you from the Deceptive Lab, and dude, I'm really excited for this event. I hope you are too. And honestly, dude, I'll see you guys on the battlefield. I hope for all you cons out there that you do the best you can. Hope, you know, this weekend, hope that you earn your 5-star shards or your 5-star bots if you are up for one this go around. And that's all I want to say. I'll see you on the battlefield.